left Pasquino, we took the fork in the road, and now we're heading in a stretch of the Via Papalis that's going to intersect with the Corso Vittorio Emanuele, the modern boulevard of the late 19th century. Just at this point, though, just about before we're about to make the bend onto that now busier part of the road, we catch this glimpse of the dome of Sant'Andrea della Valle, and that's not an accident. The Theatines who built that church at the very end of the 16th century and finished its facade in the 17th century put their dome specifically there in order to catch our eye and provide a kind of wayfinding moment for anyone moving in this way, but especially for the papal route. It puts them in an incredibly prominent spot for the Pope to pay attention to them, if you like. Now, Sant'Andrea della Valle means it's dedicated to St. Andrew. Andrew was the brother of Peter. And in fact, this dome is the second largest dome in Rome after the Dome of St. Peter's, designed by the architect who designed the nave and the facade of St. Peter's, Carlo Maderno. So this is a significant spot, and they did it quite deliberately in order to be that kind of landmark or beacon on the route. And they also made it so large, and they were allowed to make it so large because of the dedication to Andrew. Andrew's head, his relic, was actually contained at the crossing of St. Peter's. So Peter and Andrew, brothers in life, have been brought back together again. And here they are, brothers on the skyline. Domes, one big, one slightly smaller here on the other part of town in the center of the Abitato, but still, in a way, in dialogue with each other. The kind of dialogue that we can see when we're up high in the city and we look out over the skyline. So what Theatines did when they built their church was extend a substantially smaller church towards the Via Papalis, giving them a facade on the Via Papalis, and we'll see that soon. But the placing of the dome was critical because it functioned as a hinge, if you like, a knuckle, a point of transition where the road reoriented. The road's going to continue at this point and bend around what was the outside of the Odeon of Domitian, the poetry reading contest building that's essentially an enclosed Roman theater, a theater with a roof. And there's a building along this route, a little farther along, the Palazzo Massimi alla Colonne, the Massimi family palace of the columns, because it has a colonnaded portico, recalling ancient streets and their colonnaded porticos. And that palazzo takes the curve of the road because it's built over that outside of the Odeon of Domitian. So it's actually repeating the form of a theater, and this whole route is theatrical in so many different ways. Here we get a glimpse, a kind of an illusionistic stage set, if you like, of this looming dome that we'll see again and again and will provide a beacon or landmark for us as we move past the facade and around the corner and then locate ourselves on axis with the Gesù. So as we came around the corner from the bend at the road at the Pasquino towards the dome of Sant'Andrea della Valle, we then came onto a stretch of the Via Papalis that corresponds to the actual modern street of Corso Vittorio Emanuele, a busy trafficked street that really was meant in the late 19th century to connect Rome from a traffic point of view, not from a symbolic point of view. But that means that how we would have seen Sant'Andrea della Valle is very different than how we can perceive it today. Historically, I would have been hard up against the building across the street. I'm at the edge of the street of the Via Papalis, which would then bend after this facade and take us toward the Via del Sudario. So this is the way we would have seen this church, not from a long distant view as a great billboard, but hard up against it, like a plastic sculptural thing. Almost, I sometimes think of these facades as like elaborate organ cases, as if this thing could resonate with, vibrant sound. But it has this plastic, three-dimensional, scooped-out sculptural quality that's really something you can appreciate close by and to a certain extent at an angle as we pass by it. So all the cars passing in front of us now represent a wide street. Here we would have been on a narrow street that opened up into what you have to imagine was just a little piazza in front of the church, but we never could have seen it from any farther away than this. And so this is how you're meant to see it. It's reproduced in books from distant points of view, but no one ever saw it that way until the 20th century. So it's important to think about that because the architect who designed this facade had to take account of that situation. It's not a situation that lends itself to easy kind of silhouette readings, but more to the kind of scooped out plastic quality that almost makes it tactile. You want to go up and sort of touch this thing and get a sense of it as a sculptural plastic kind of body in a way. And of course, that sculptural quality wants to also draw us inside. Outside are sculptures that represent the saint, for example, on the left is St. Andrew, to whom the church is dedicated. So seeing it this way, I think, gives you a better clue as to why the architect made it the way they did, made it this kind of sculptural, plastic, scooped out kind of thing that's really exciting and interesting to be next to, hard up against it. So from here, we're going to turn the corner, follow the flank of the church, and get onto the Via del Sudario.